Good day, you too. Comparatively, Chapter 4 is probably a lot more direct and coherent in terms of storytelling compared to the earlier 3 chapters. The ending animation is beautiful and sort of summarizes the love between Zhu Bajie as well as the Violet Spirit, which forms like the bedrock of this entire story in Chapter 4. Now, to better understand the consequences and how things led to the way it is in Chapter 4, we need to know what happened prior to that, which was in the original lore. Now, in the original story, Bajie was a former general in service of the heaven. He is the Tianpeng Yuan Shuai. He's actually a celestial marshal who has control of 80,000 troops. That's a relatively high-ranking position, but he also has a lustful habit going around harassing all the maidens in the celestial court. He also secretly loved the moon goddess Chang'e and tried to seduce her and hit on her, and this was against the rules. And as a punishment, he was banished to the mortal world and given the shape of a pig, which was both ugly and hideous and causing mortal women to fear him. Nonetheless, he used his magic powers to transform himself temporarily back to his human self and eventually married a mortal wife, Guo Cuilan. But when Guo Cuilan eventually found out Bajie's true form, she thought of him as a Yao Guai, and her parents asked Sun Wukong's help to put away the powerful monster, which he did. After the monkey defeated the pig, Wukong's master Sang Zhang recruited Bajie as his second disciple to continue their journey to the west to gain some redemption. He was also given the Buddhist name Wu Neng, but let's just still call him Bajie because it's more affectionate anyway. So hence Bajie became part of the pilgrim party, and one of the arcs that they encountered was the spider spirit arc, the Zizhu Jing, right? So there's this particular chapter of the story where they met 7 ladies in the forest, okay, 7 for 7 colors, and all these ladies were actually 1,000-year-old spider spirits that have been cultivating for so long they were able to assume human form. Now the 7 ladies wanted to eat Tang Sen like all other Yao Guais do because they believed that by feasting and barbecuing him they can turn immortal. They succeeded in capturing him and wrapped him up in their dwellings, and then they went for a bathe. And Wukong didn't really want to cause too much of a ruckus, so he asked Bajie to go and take care of the spider spirits while using that distraction to rescue his master and to burn down the spiders' dwellings at the same time. Bajie was probably not the best person to send for this job. He turned into a catfish, played a little bit with the ladies, eventually ended up in a conflict. He didn't really win, but he did his job in distracting the spider ladies. The pilgrims went on their way after they rescued Tang Sen, and the spider ladies were absolutely angry and they went seek help with the centipede spirit, which is their sort of like brother of sorts in the honorifics term. This centipede spirit is the final boss of chapter 4, the 100-eye Taoist master. Let's just call him centipede spirit for short. So Mr. Centipede was actually faking it out as a human, and he was the leader of the Yellow Flower Temple, which was coincidentally the next stop which the pilgrims ended up in. Centipede Spirit also wanted to eat Tang Sen, so he gave them tea and he poisoned the tea secretly with his centipede poison. Sang Zhang and Bajie both drank the tea and went unconscious immediately. Sa Wujing and Wukong did not drink the tea because they saw the red flag, and they ended up fighting the rest of the Taoist minions in the Yellow Flower Temple. Now, Wukong went one-on-one against the centipede spirit, and he was actually having the upper hand up until the 100-eye Taoist decided to disrobe himself and reveal 100 eyes that's embedded on his upper half of his body. This is some Naruto vibes over here. And apparently, these eyes emit sorcery and light that is so powerful that it gave our monkey a migraine and he had to retreat. After his defeat, he realized he needed to seek for celestial help from a higher order, like most of the other arcs where he couldn't beat the Yao Guai. And he was directed to the Purple Cloud Mountain, where he came into contact with the Pusa there called the Pilampo Pusa. She accompanied him and then explained that this centipede spirit's power is so great that even the Buddha feared the 100-eye magic. So in order to counter that, she used the needle. Now that is the vessel that you gain in the secret chapter boss in chapter 4. And using this needle, she was able to subdue the centipedes and the spider spirits and then force them to become her Buddhist acolytes. Now this needle was actually not made of any metal or steel but extracted from the eye of her son. She herself is sort of like a mother hen celestial spirit, and her son was a rooster celestial spirit, also known as the Maozhi Xingguan or Dawn Star, one of the 28 constellations similar to Kangjing Star that you have met in chapter 3. So where do game science story in Black Myth Wukong tie into all this, right? Since it is a sequel of sorts, the animation explained that when 八戒 was still 天崩元帅, he actually met this handmaiden who eventually ended up in the mortal realm as the Violet Spider, one of the 7 spider spirits. She went to the mortal realm in search of 八戒 after knowing that he was banished from heaven to earth, and she assumed the form of a spider. I don't know if it's because it's punishment or it's voluntarily, but she became a 妖怪 lah in the process, where she eventually met 八戒. Certain extracts of Journey to the West also mention that 八戒 actually, instead of playing with the 7 ladies as portrayed in the 1986 TV series, he actually killed 6 of the spider spirits, but one of them escaped, and surprise surprise, that was the Violet Spider that escaped and went to seek for help from the Centipede brother. Now this makes sense if game science contextualizes it in such a way that Violet Spider is actually the lover of 八戒. And having met 八戒 in the mortal realm once again, they sort of reconciled their love and she gave birth to a daughter. But 八戒 decided to still leave her behind and continue with his master to the west, and hence it was a tragic end to their romance. In a way, she put it that she had wasted 2 lifespans waiting for him. Now, after Wukong's demise and his relic ended up in the hands of the 100-Eye Taoists, these 妖怪s, after they got the level up, decided to go after all the celestial beings that have previously subdued them. And in this case, the secret boss, Dustveil, was actually Dawnstar, the 毛日星官, the rooster celestial being that was responsible for producing the needle that subdued him. So if you read the journal of Dustveil, it is revealed that he unfortunately underestimated the insect 妖怪, who is the centipede spirit, and lost in a fight, got himself Frankenstein and experimented on and became a zombie rooster, and he prayed with his last ounce of consciousness for the safety of his mother. As for 毗蓝婆 菩萨, well, you can assume that she's probably dead. A lot of gamers have concluded that the left hand of Buddha and the right hand of Buddha was actually forged from her corpse. Dawnstar was probably looking for his mom before he eventually got defeated and zombidized by the 100-Eye Taoists. That's the result why Hong-Yi, which is another constellation who wanted to save Dawnstar or at least put him out of his misery, requested the help of the Destined One to fight Dustveil. And upon killing Dustveil, she took the needle out, inserted into the body of the rooster, and the needle regained its original powers, and you can use that needle to counter the 100-Eye Taoists. So this is how all the lore tie back into the original story. Where does the Scorpion Lord come in? Now, Dawnstar himself also assisted the pilgrims in another arc, where Wukong and gang found themselves facing a scorpion demoness whose sting is so powerful that she was able to escape from the Buddha's temple, and the Buddhas themselves also fear her sting. So the rooster, who is the natural predator of the scorpion, assisted Wukong and his pilgrim party to take out the scorpion demoness. And the Scorpion Lord is actually the ex-boyfriend who was jilted because he was not able to produce the spawn that she requested. All the Scorpion Prince are considered by her to be low-hanging fruit. So she jilted him and went out on her own, but the Scorpion Lord still pined after the Scorpion Demoness and wanted to exact revenge on Dawnstar. Unfortunately, Dawnstar got Frankenstein and turned into a zombie Dustveil, and Scorpion Lord would not be able to defeat Dustveil on his own. He knows that, which was why he was there. If you have not killed Scorpion Lord, he would appear in your fight against Dustveil to assist you to fight the zombie rooster, where he eventually meet his end. So I hope this wraps up most of the storyline and all the characters and how they come in and tie into the story itself, right? There are less obscure characters in this chapter, and the relationship between each of them are really much more clear-cut as compared to the earlier 3 chapters. Okay, I hope you learned something from this video, and see you in the next one. Thank you. Goodbye.